Art can take many forms. Paintings, moving pictures, and ballet are all surely art. But art is so much more than that. Truly, art can be any experience that you seek emotional connection or understanding from. The nature of art is cloudy, and there are many debates about what truly qualifies as art. However, I'm not looking to elucidate that specific issue, as what I'm looking into is so surely art that not even the most contentious and belligerent analyst would dream of disagreeing with me. Today, we're looking at the song known as Just a Baby. Welcome viewers, I'm Vivat Veritas, and this is a very serious analysis and a very serious video, so I'd appreciate your undivided attention as we leap into the obscure leanings of analysis on such a deep and insightful piece of art. The date of upload is just a coincidence. For those unaware, Just a Baby is a masterpiece put together by Cicierega of wide internet fame. Really, if you've seen something on the internet, there's like a 50% chance he made it. It's located at the position of 4th of his 4th mashup album titled Mouth Dreams. At this point, Mr. Cicierega has become a master of his craft, and this album shows his skill in weaving multiple songs together. Just a Baby takes the sultry vocals of both Johnny Cash and Justin Bieber from Folsom Prison Blues and Baby respectively, set to the instrumental of Hoobastank's The Reason, making it the second banging mashup to use The Reason to a greater effect than the original. This is the peak of transformative art, taking several pieces of varying quality and synthesizing something far greater than the individual parts. This is Just a Baby. You will join me. The album of Mouth Dreams is overall very serious in tone, with thought-provoking tracks such as Pee-wee Inc. and Limp Wicket, but it is my personal belief that Just a Baby takes the proverbial cake in how it speaks to the metaphysical psyche of every single person who has, does, and will listen to it. In terms of its position on the album, the song comes immediately after Sponge Rock, a mashup of We Will Rock You and the SpongeBob theme song. This creates a notable aura of thematic intensity. Sponge Rock is very evocative of a warped childhood, with the nostalgic memories of SpongeBob in stark contrast with the grimy and very real lyrics of We Will Rock You. Of course, this isn't a video about Sponge Rock. That would be absurd. However, it's important to take into consideration the mental setting that we are in when coming into Just a Baby. We've already been primed to consider this twisted childhood as a potential theme to wrangle with, and through the sentence cutting of one of the greatest vocalists of all time, this theme is brought to fruition. The song itself opens up with an anecdote from our protagonist, who we'll call Johnny for the sake of ease, though it could indeed be named after any one of us considering how universal this song is. Johnny talks about how his mama always advised him to always be a baby and never be a gun. The phrasing of the advice is also particularly notable. Using the idea of being a baby to represent innocence is contrasted with the violence of being a gun, the transference of this higher concept of the violence that is perhaps inherent to humanity onto an inanimate object being masterfully done. Unfortunately, Johnny did still shoot a man in Reno just to watch him bleed, highlighting the fact that he never really took his mother's advice to heart. This is an oft-used trope in many types of art, the prodigal son not listening to the wisdom of his elders, and is used to great effect in this mournful tune. Despite him being asked to hold on to his innocence and dismiss the violence that pervades society, he too gave in. Interestingly, the chorus gives us an additional insight to the situation. When he did shoot that man in Reno, he still considered himself a baby boy. How literal this is in the scope of the metaphor is slightly difficult to discern. However, it is excellent foreshadowing to a much later part of the song. In some way, he did seem to keep some of his innocence before and after this incident. In the second verse, we see the use of another frequently employed metaphor in the classic train. Johnny laments that he still hears the railroad train, probably a good train coming, yet he is stuck in baby prison. The train is often used to represent freedom, or the change needed in a life, from when people would hop on a train and go start a new life with somewhere else with reckless abandon. This sense of freedom, of a refresh from the sins of the past, is something that Johnny craves so deeply in this moment. However, his imprisonment in likely juvenile prison makes this possibility impossible. A true reflection of the prison industrial complex, which is much more likely to inordinately punish those who have made a mistake or two in life without giving them a chance to improve or change their life for the better. All he can do is, much like the baby he metaphorically and perhaps literally is, hang his head and pee. The second chorus also gives us a new piece of information tying the theme of innocence and infancy to the theme of freedom, with the line, "I shot a train, but that train was just a car." A car is just one section of a train, so in a way it is similar to a baby of a train. Johnny saying that he shot the car of a train can be read as him killing his own innocence and freedom in this one action, consigning him to a life of sin. The third and final verse sheds light on his current situation. While he's in baby prison, he indulges numerous vices, such as drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. These are all very adult things to do. Coffee is drunk by those on the 9-to-5 grind, and cigars are naturally symbols of maturity and a business. He still feels trapped as a child even as he undergoes these rites of passage of adulthood. The sin that he seems bound to on these restrictive train tracks to hell are a natural part of him now, even though through this sin he has remained paralyzed in his childhood. This sense of suspended childhood, of feeling immature despite the passing of time, is common in trauma victims, and no doubt our Johnny would feel similarly. Johnny goes on to consider his life outside of prison, moving on to the future. If he was allowed out of this prison, set free, he believes he would be a good car. This brings us back to the connection of both innocence and freedom. He may be a baby now, stuck in baby prison, but with the right situation and the help he needs, he could find freedom and start a new life, transcending his existing situation and finally escaping the sin that he seems burdened with. This realization of looking to the possible future brings another breakthrough for us in the final chorus. As if he is moving through his own trauma, he reveals that in fact it was his mama, the one who gave him the advice to keep a hold of his innocence, who shot the man in Reno. This reveal fundamentally recontextualizes so much of what we've learnt from the song so far. Johnny took the fall for his own mother, the one who was always there for him and shouldered her burden for her. No wonder he still considers himself a baby boy. He's still stuck in that mindset of being his mother's baby and kept her advice close to his heart throughout all this time. Johnny has had to grow up to be a pseudo-adult, now disconnected from his mother, disillusioned with the reality of adulthood, and forced to reckon with the crimes that come from maturity. Maybe the train that he talks of would take him back to his mother, or perhaps it would lead him to a life where he would no longer feel the need to protect anyone in the way that he has now. With a baby or train, he can at least find peace with this understanding of his fate and shit his pants like the baby boy he is. At least he can take solace in the fact that he never did truly become a gun, but maybe one day he can become a car. I hope that you are all taking notes. Again, I cannot stress this enough. This is a very serious video that just so happens to be released on the 1st of April, a date that means nothing to me. Now that we have fully dissected one of the greatest musical pieces of all time, you may be unsure of where to go next. I invite you all, listen to your music, watch your TV shows, play your video games, and think of what it could mean on a deeper level. Perhaps your favorite country song is secretly about Sonic Adventure 2. Perhaps your favorite sitcom is secretly about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Perhaps your favorite video game is secretly about Sonic Unleashed. Art is everywhere for those with the eyes to find it, and I hope that this video has helped you all understand this fact. Anything can be analyzed, and I mean anything. I believe I've proven that much, at least. If you enjoyed this video and wish to support me financially, I do have a Patreon you can subscribe to, which would be a great help. Many thanks to my existing patrons Michael Bates, Caleb Barker, Meggie, Zalgo, and Nigel Robinson for your continued support. I'm certain this is exactly what you were expecting from your donations. Until next time, I've been Vivat Veritas, and I'll see you again soon.